Our final presenter, Bernice Carnegie, has a 35-year history in working with communities throughout Ontario and beyond. She is co-founder of the Herbert H. Carnegie Future ACES Foundation, and under her leadership as its executive director for the past 17 years, it has been enriching the lives of thousands of youth through character development initiatives. Harmony Movement is fortunate to have her as part of our team, tapping into her spirit and extensive knowledge of community giving. Please welcome to the podium our board chair, Bernice Carnegie.
Good evening, everyone. I really wanted to run up here and with the spirit of all these great young people. But a week ago, I was in Portugal and hit my head, ended up in the hospital, and I'm taking it easy as an older person. I am delighted that I get a little bit of a speaking part as a board chair. And it gives me such great pleasure to have all of you join us for this amazing event where we get to meet some very, very special people. You could be spending it anywhere, but you're here. You're here because you understand our vision, and you know how important it is that we all take part in our social change. It's truly been an amazing journey for me to be associated with Harmony Movement, especially since my father, Herb Carnegie, was honored by receiving a Harmony Award way back in 2001. And it is so fitting that 17 years later, I get to celebrate at this event because it is the 99th anniversary of his birth. So I know there are a few people out here that came to help me celebrate tonight, and I know Herb Carnegie's first grandson is in the audience. He will be 50 in a couple of days. My son, Vaughn, please go up and say hello to him. Now, my dad received this award because he was a visionary and faced a few glass ceilings along the way. His reality included being Black in a mostly white world and choosing professional hockey as his career in the 1940s and 50s. Ooh. It provided some interesting challenges. And you may not know this, but I actually was raised in this community just down the road. And like Gordon Cressy, I was born in the 40s. And I was the only Black student in my classes from kindergarten to grade 13. I followed my father, who was also raised in the same block, and it was like that for him too. And so he broke some bridges. He was a real trailblazer. And I am so proud that after he established the first registered hockey school in Canada, in 1955, the project he introduced back then called Future ACES, future, always striving, ACES to be the very best that we can be, and for 50 years, affected and enriched thousands and thousands of young people in the school system through our character initiatives. Because we started a family foundation the Herbert H. Carnegie Future Aces Foundation. And that's one of the reasons he was recognized so many years ago, because he reflected what we're all trying to do now in the word harmony movement. I heard my father say many times, I want to leave this world a better place than I found it. And so he did. With those thousands of kids we've helped and giving out more than $750,000 in scholarships to young people all across Canada. So I thank my mom and dad every day. And I know the young people that are here in their hearts know that what they're doing started from where their parents were. Tonight, I get to celebrate with all of you and to learn about the stories of these amazing people. And one of those amazing people is Mandi Gray. She's receiving her award because she had the courage to stand up against personal invasion. The Me Too movement should be everyone's movement, just like harmony movement should be everybody's movement. Today is your opportunity to meet a real hero in the young people you saw and in this person you're about to meet, Mandi. Mandi has opened the doors through her heartfelt journey in a personal fight that is also a public fight against sexual assault. She is a leader and role model in every sense of the word because she was willing to expose and take a stand against society's predators. Mandi, who I was sitting beside, before I invite you to the stage, I want you to know you are not alone. There are others who support your stand. I think we have a whole room full of people who support your stand. So in helping me present this award this evening, I'd like to ask Rani Poorman, Senior Advisor, Office of Inclusion for BMO, to come up. And so, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming a Canadian we can all look up to, and one of our special harmony social change makers for this evening. Please give Mandi Gray an amazing applause.
Hi, thank you all so much for staying right to the very end. And I'm really amongst friends because I also fell and hit my head a couple days ago. So I didn't really think I would make it here today. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you to the Harmony Movement for the work you're doing. Sitting here, I recognize just the importance of all of the conversations that you're facilitating in schools across the province, and often reflect on how maybe my earlier life may have been different if there were conversations happening in my school about sexuality, consent, colonialism, and racism, and those lessons didn't come until I enrolled in university. Thank you so much for recognizing the work I've done over the last 4 years. It really wasn't my intention when I started, but I recognized a need and decided to keep going. Thank you so much for nominating me, and I think it really renewed my faith in just the goodness of people. I get a lot of really awful messages on social media, and someone I had never met who had just followed me on Twitter had sent me a message that they had nominated me for this award, and that was really special for a lot of reasons, just because this work does so often go unrecognized. And so for recognizing me at a time, right now I'm facing a lot of challenges in terms of very blatant attempts at silencing me. I found out in the national newspaper a week ago that I am being sued for talking about sexual violence. So there are these very real consequences that those of us speaking about sexual assault are experiencing, and there are very real material consequences. So why I came to this work was primarily because when I went to report sexual assault, I quickly identified that what the officials and what the institutions said they were doing, and then what was actually happening in practice, were very different, and there was a lot of contradictions. So I began documenting my experience. I didn't know what I would do with it. I just knew that it was important. I wouldn't be here right now without some key people in this room. So first and foremost, my mom, who has believed in me and supported me always, who encouraged me. So there were a lot of times when nobody thought I would finish high school or go on to university. And so I just hope that if you're struggling, that, you know, it is possible. And there is a whole world that exists outside of the education system as it currently exists. I am now in a PhD program in my 4th year, nearing completion, sort of, but it is a PhD. So to my lawyer and my mentor, Joanna Birnbaum, who has been so key, and she's like the primary reason why I was able to stay on campus after I was sexually assaulted. She's the reason I believe that I'm still in a PhD program, and often acts as a therapist to me since we met in 2015. My best friend, Mylene, who's here, who is the first person to say that she believes me. She hasn't left my side since. To my friend Annalise and the other members of Silence is Violence, who have been foundational by supporting me at all my court dates, planning protests, and lots of laughs. To everyone who didn't worry about these are the people that didn't worry about what people would think if I removed the publication ban from the rape trial I testified in. They wholeheartedly believed in me. I told them I was going to make a film about what happened to me, and they said, cool. I don't own a camera. I didn't know anyone that worked in film, and them believing in me, I ended up making a feature-length film that premiered at Hot Docs in the spring. So I say that to continue to keep creating, keep telling your stories, and make those connections, and you'll be surprised who you meet along the way. My community is what keeps me going. Sexual violence is so incredibly isolating. Breaking the silence of sexual assault can be just as isolating. It can be incredibly lonely. In this current political climate, it is imperative to speak back to violence in all its forms. It's not easy work, and it's not usually at these glamorous galas. So I say all that to just remind you to, you know, this community exists, and it's so important. And you know, in these times right now, just believing people is such a political act, especially as those folks such as myself are currently facing legal action to try and stop us from calling out institutions who have been continuously attempting to silence incidents of sexual violence on campus. Thank you so much to the Harmony Movement. I really am so honored to receive this award, and thank you all for sticking it out. And now you get dessert, I think, so it's worth it.